before I get into this review, I just want to start off by saying that I'm not going to be touching on the controversy of this movie, and that it's going to by no means affect my actual opinions or views of this film in any way, form, or fashion. I'm just going to react to it in the way that I think it works as a movie and as a film and entertainment wise. With that said, let's get into the review. Lightyear comes from us from Pixar and Disney Studios, and it stars Chris Evans as the titular character, Buzz Lightyear. Now, before I get into explaining the plot to this movie, I have to take some time. This movie has a very unique plot. See, the marketing for this movie, I think, was by no means the clearest marketing that we've ever had. This film was originally marketed more or less as the story of the true Buzz Lightyear, especially after Chris Evans made a tweet about it, saying that's what it was about. So, the thing is, this movie's actually about, as explained by a text in the beginning of the movie, that in the 90s, Andy from Toy Story saw a movie about Buzz Lightyear. That's why he wanted the toy. This movie that's coming out, right now, Lightyear, is the movie that Andy saw. And because of that, I have several issues with this film. However, let me explain the plot of this film to you. The basic premise of this movie is that Buzz Lightyear, played by Chris Evans, works for Star Command. He has friends, he has companions, and they are on the ship, which is just a kind of Star Trek style mission. He even has like a recording that was very similar to Captain Kirk's. And they land at this planet, which they find out is dangerous and hostile. They crash, and they end up stuck there. So then Buzz decides to get them off because it was his mistake that they crashed. So he does a test flight, which he ends up finding out is using time dilation. To him, 4 minutes is 4 years down in the actual planet. So every time he goes up for this test mission to try to get them off of this planet, 4 years pass down there, and his friends' lives are passing by him as he's trying to rescue everyone. He gets a cat named Socks. It's kind of like a robotic cat that's there to help him out, and they discover a dark twist along the way. That's all I can say about this movie without spoiling it. I think that this movie does have some things that can be considered spoiler territory, despite the fact that it is a Pixar film and it's based off of Toy Story. With that said, let's get right into how I feel about the movie a little more in depth. Chris Evans in this movie is good. He does a really good job with his character and how the character is written. He gives a certain classic swashbuckler feel to it. He voices it very well. He does a good job, as I said. And I had a lot of fun seeing the way he portrayed the character. Josh Brolin in the movie, quite a bit of fun. He gives a very over-the-top villain performance, which was very welcome. Although I didn't quite like everything that is done with his character, there's a decision made that I wasn't too hot with. But overall, he did a really good job with everything that they had given him. Uzo Aduba, I'm sorry if I said her name wrong. She does a really good job. She's a really warm presence in the movie. And she does a good job also with everything. Everyone in this movie is good, I think. I don't think there's anyone who does a bad job. At the same time, though, I don't think there's anyone really doing an outstanding job. I also think this movie does struggle to justify its existence because of what I think this film should have and could have been. If this movie, which is supposed to be the movie that Andy saw in the 90s, well, I think it should feel more akin to a 90s huge blockbuster. This movie, I think, its biggest problem is it is far too serious. This movie is geared more for adults than it is for kids, despite the PG rating. There are concepts in here that are just too deep and too much for a kid. Time dilation in particular, where this movie decides to go all interstellar with all that, it's extremely intricate for a child's movie, I think. I'm not sort of seeing kids going to theater having the best time with this movie. Another thing I think about this movie is there's a lot too much drama and not enough jokes, not enough big action, and enough humor. If this movie's really specifically made Andy want this toy and this toy's the coolest thing ever, this movie should have had a lot bigger 90s style action. Even if it's going to be more modern action, the action had to be bigger. It had to be more fun and more epic. This movie doesn't quite live up to expectations, and I think that's something that did let me down a bit. I think also because, someone's driving past with their car being really loud right now, and it's kind of weird. Anyway, so as I was saying, basically, I think the movie does have that issue, and essentially the marketing wasn't the clearest, so no one really knew what this was marketed as, and it doesn't really feel like a Buzz Lightyear movie to me. It's not what a Buzz Lightyear movie I think would have been or should have been. This movie does struggle. However, this movie does have positives to it. This movie looks great. This movie is very well shot. I do love the score quite a bit. It's very classic and it's very well done. I think that the performances, as I said before, are really good, and there are some good standout sequences that I like an awful lot. But just in general, I think this movie just didn't do enough for me to really get me to understand why it's here or why it needs to exist. I don't mean to be underwhelmed by this movie. I wish I loved this movie more. I wish I could love this movie more, but it doesn't really resonate with me. And it didn't give me what I needed for it to have been a good Lightyear movie. There are, like I said, fun sequences. The characters are fun. There are fun ideas. But I can't also help but feel that this movie's not made enough for kids. It's pandered too much to a modern, male, maybe female. I'd say there's a little bit there, but older audience. So, although the movie is by no means terrible, it's just not really what I think it could have been or should have been. The movie can be a little bit boring at times, especially I could see young viewers being very bored with this movie very, very fast. I'm going to give Lightyear a 5 out of 10. So thanks as always, guys, for watching, and stick around for more reviews and more videos coming up, and I'll see y'all next time.